Few philosophers have been as misunderstood and misrepresented as Friedrich Nietzsche. His name is often invoked to justify elitism, cruelty, and a disdain for the weak. But did Nietzsche truly despise weakness, or was his philosophy far more nuanced? Friedrich Nietzsche is often misrepresented as a philosopher who despised weakness and idolized strength in a crude, oppressive sense. His concept of the Übermensch and his critique of morality have led many to believe that he was an elitist who had no compassion for the weak. But is this interpretation accurate? This book aims to examine Nietzsche's true stance on weakness, strength, and morality, dissecting the nuances behind his ideas. Chapter 1: The Will to Power, Strength Beyond Physicality. One of Nietzsche's core philosophical ideas is the will to power, which is often mistaken for a simple glorification of domination. However, Nietzsche saw power not merely as physical strength or control over others, but as a creative and life-affirming force. He believed that the will to power was the driving force behind human ambition, artistic creation, and intellectual growth. This force manifests not only in the pursuit of external dominance, but also in the inner struggle for self-improvement and self-overcoming. Nietzsche argued that the will to power is an essential element of human existence, influencing everything from personal decisions to large-scale cultural shifts. It is not limited to the realm of the strong, but is a universal principle governing all life. In this way, even those who might be considered weak in a traditional sense possess the capacity to exercise power by cultivating their own strengths, whether through intellectual, artistic, or spiritual pursuits. Furthermore, Nietzsche's perspective suggests that societies that embrace the will to power in a constructive manner thrive, while those that suppress it stagnate. He saw the repression of this drive as a source of cultural decay, where values of mediocrity and conformity replace the boldness and creativity that drive civilization forward. He viewed the elevation of victimhood and passivity as obstacles to progress, urging individuals to push beyond self-imposed limitations and rise above the herd mentality. This chapter explores what Nietzsche meant by power, how it influences human development, and how it relates to his views on weakness and potential for greatness. It also examines the practical implications of embracing the will to power in everyday life, and how Nietzsche's philosophy challenges conventional understandings of strength and ambition. Chapter 2: Slave Morality and Master Morality, a Critique of Resentment. Nietzsche's critique of morality is central to understanding his stance on weakness. On the genealogy of morality, he describes two types of morality: master morality and slave morality, each representing different value systems that have shaped human societies. Master morality, according to Nietzsche, originates from the strong, noble individuals who define good in terms of strength, courage, and vitality. These individuals act from a place of self-assurance, embracing values that affirm life and personal growth. Slave morality, on the other hand, emerges from the oppressed, who redefine good as qualities such as humility, obedience, and self-denial, values that serve to pacify and control rather than empower. This morality, Nietzsche argues, stems from resentment, ressentiment, a deep-seated bitterness towards those in power, which leads the weak to invert moral values and portray weakness as virtue. This chapter will explain how these moral systems emerged, why Nietzsche was critical of slave morality, and whether this critique equates to hatred of weak individuals. By analyzing the historical and psychological roots of both moral frameworks, we will also explore how Nietzsche's insights apply to contemporary ethical debates, shedding light on how moral values continue to evolve in modern societies. Chapter 3: The Übermensch, Beyond Weakness and Strength. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, Overman or Superman, represents his ideal of self-overcoming and transcendence. Unlike conventional notions of superiority, the Übermensch is not defined by physical strength or domination, but by the ability to create meaning and values in a world devoid of objective truths. This chapter explores how the Übermensch is not simply a figure of brute force, but a symbol of self-actualization, artistic creation, and overcoming one's own limitations. Nietzsche saw the Übermensch as someone who has moved beyond societal norms, moral dogmas, and external validation, forging their own path through inner strength and intellectual autonomy. By rejecting herd mentality and embracing personal growth, the Übermensch acts as a guiding ideal for humanity, demonstrating that true power lies in the mastery of one's own existence. This chapter delves into the characteristics of the Übermensch, how one might strive toward this ideal, and the philosophical implications of transcending conventional dichotomies of weakness and strength. Chapter 4: Pity and Compassion. Why Nietzsche rejected them. Nietzsche was highly critical of pity, which he saw as reinforcing weakness rather than helping individuals grow stronger. He believed that pity, in its traditional sense, did not elevate or empower the suffering, but instead trapped them in a cycle of dependency and victimhood. Rather than encouraging individuals to rise above their struggles, pity often condescended to them, affirming their weakness instead of fostering resilience. Does this mean he lacked empathy? Not necessarily. Nietzsche's rejection of pity was not a rejection of human connection or concern for others, but rather a call for a more constructive approach to suffering. He valued a form of compassion that encouraged strength, self-overcoming, and the transformation of adversity into growth. For Nietzsche, suffering was not something to be passively alleviated through sympathy, but something to be confronted and used as a catalyst for personal and existential evolution. This chapter investigates Nietzsche's rejection of pity in contrast to his deeper concern for human flourishing, exploring how his ideas challenge conventional notions of morality and social responsibility. By reinterpreting pity as an obstacle rather than a virtue, Nietzsche urges us to reconsider the ways in which we approach suffering, both our own and that of others. Chapter 5: Sickness, Decadence, and Decline. Nietzsche's true enemies. Rather than hating weak people, Nietzsche was more concerned with cultural and philosophical decadence, the forces that he believed drained humanity of its vitality. He saw decadence as a gradual weakening of human potential, a state in which individuals and societies lose their capacity for growth, innovation, and self-overcoming. Nietzsche identified various symptoms of this decline, including the rise of nihilism, excessive moralism, and the suppression of instincts that drive creativity and strength. This chapter discusses Nietzsche's views on decline, sickness, both physical and spiritual, and the institutions he blamed for fostering stagnation. He criticized organized religion, particularly Christianity, for promoting a morality that, in his view, glorified weakness and suffering while discouraging personal ambition and self-assertion. Additionally, Nietzsche warned against the dangers of herd mentality, where individuals conform to societal norms rather than striving to develop their own unique capacities. By examining Nietzsche's thoughts on decadence, this chapter will explore how he believes societies could either embrace decay or resist it through a renewed commitment to vitality, artistic expression, and intellectual courage. His critique remains relevant today as we consider the balance between tradition and progress, conformity and individuality, and the forces that either invigorate or diminish human potential. Chapter 6: Misinterpretations and Misuse of Nietzsche. Many have misused Nietzsche's ideas, from Nazi propagandists to modern-day elitists, often twisting his words to justify oppressive ideologies or elitist superiority. The philosopher's critiques of morality, power, and human development have been selectively quoted or misinterpreted to serve political agendas that run contrary to his original intent. This chapter highlights how Nietzsche's work has been distorted and why understanding his philosophy in its proper context is crucial. We will examine key instances of misrepresentation, such as the Nazi regime's appropriation of Nietzsche's writings, despite his own disdain for anti-Semitism and nationalism, and contemporary misuses by those who wrongly equate his concept of the Übermensch with social Darwinist or authoritarian beliefs. Additionally, we will explore how Nietzsche's radical ideas challenge rigid ideological frameworks, emphasizing individual growth, intellectual honesty, and creative transformation rather than blind allegiance to dogmatic systems. By reclaiming Nietzsche's philosophy from those who have misused it, we can better appreciate its true depth and relevance in modern discussions on power, ethics, and personal development. Conclusion: Nietzsche's message for the modern world. What can we learn from Nietzsche today? This final chapter summarizes his stance on weakness and strength, emphasizing his call for individual self-overcoming rather than blind elitism. Nietzsche did not hate weak people. He challenged everyone to strive for greatness in their own way by cultivating resilience, creativity, and intellectual independence. Nietzsche's philosophy encourages individuals to break free from societal norms and self-imposed limitations, urging them to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. Rather than seeing struggle as an obstacle, he viewed it as an essential component of human development. In a world that often promotes conformity, Nietzsche's message remains a powerful call to self-discovery and the pursuit of one's highest potential. Conclusion: Nietzsche's message for the modern world. What can we learn from Nietzsche today? This final chapter summarizes his stance on weakness and strength, emphasizing his call for individual self-overcoming rather than blind elitism. Nietzsche did not hate weak people. He challenged everyone to strive for greatness in their own way by cultivating resilience, creativity, and intellectual independence. Nietzsche's philosophy encourages individuals to break free from societal norms and self-imposed limitations, urging them to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. Rather than seeing struggle as an obstacle, he viewed it as an essential component of human development. In a world that often promotes conformity, Nietzsche's message remains a powerful call to self-discovery and the pursuit of one's highest potential.